time. Meanwhile, we've got the situation in Illinois. Governor Rod Blagojevich, defiant on Friday, and he appeared before the press for the first time. He didn't answer any questions, but he did recite some poetry.
Oh. Rudyard Kipling wrote, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you and make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating."
Sam asked, did he have a prompter? George will? No, he recited that one.
He did. Therefore, he should stay as governor. No. The only part of the state of Illinois government that isn't completely lawless at this point is the Supreme Court. The Attorney General, trumping Blagojevich in the lawless spirit, asked the Supreme Court to throw out the elected governor of Illinois on the grounds that they are allowed to do this in the Constitution if you're unfit.
They rejected it without even commenting.
They treated it with the disdain it deserves. Now the legislature has gotten into the act saying he should be impeached for, among other things, doing things that we didn't like at the time but didn't have the kidney to raise a storm about.
Donna and I like it, though, because Illinois is making our home state of Louisiana look good.
We look like choir boys and choir girls.
Well, I got to tell you something. I'm with George here. We give serial killers more due process than a lot of people in Illinois want to give this governor. Hey, we don't even have an indictment yet, we may. And we don't have any evidence out there yet, we may. And to say, out of town on a rail with tar and feathers.
And it's not going to happen, Donna, anytime quickly. I mean, this impeachment proceeding is going to take several months. The special election's been put off at least until January, which means we probably have a vacant Senate seat in the state of Illinois for some time.
That's the part that's interesting.
That's the problem. But also, the governor's becoming a distraction in terms of getting things done in the state. And I think the legislature would like to see the governor move on so that they can get back to governing. That's the problem. Right now, I think what happened last week is that he was begging for time. And you know, Sam, if you do the time, you'll do the crime. but
eventually, Donna, after due process.
Oh, but you read those transcripts.
Right. And then
but wait a second. Hold on.
Transcript is not evidence.
They're all one-sided. Those are all internal conversations. Listen, Fitzgerald has been looking at him for an awful long time. Who knows what evidence he has. But what's on those transcripts show a guy who was talking about trying to sell the seat. We don't know that he did anything.
Well, that's right. In furtherance of the conspiracy, just talking about doing something. Jimmy Carter, lust in the heart, not the same thing.
Due process doesn't really obtain an impeachment. You can impeach someone for anything you want. So let's let that. But let me ask Donna a question.
I thought you were on the other side of that question a moment ago.
With a preamble. The preamble is this. The Republicans won a Senate seat in 1998. Peter Fitzgerald beat Carol Moseley Blond. There's a fluke having to do with how weak her candidacy was. Aside from that, the last time Republicans elected a serious senator, Republicans did, was 1978. Why are Democrats so afraid of a free election in Illinois?
I think they're worried about the time and the cost. That's what they're worried about.
Time-consuming and costly democracy is?
Absolutely. This is a new day.
But it could be a long, without an election, it could be a long wait. Because if the Senate says, as they are saying, that they're not going to seat someone that Blagojevich appoints, then,
they've said that. They've been very clear they're not going to seat anybody Blagojevich appoints. But I was wondering if Blagojevich got smart and trumped them. What if he picked a Tammy Duckworth, Iraq veteran, amputee, was on everyone's list beforehand? Right. How do they say no to her?
They probably don't. They probably don't say no to her.
Situation ethics applies.
Then you have to see how smart Blagojevich is.
But then it also goes to the question that George raised: why not a special election, which we know we will hear, Donna, from the Republican Party? They've been pounding that drum.
Initially, that was the reaction from Democrats, but I think in hindsight, they basically looked at the legislature, and why are you laughing? That's not funny.
It's very funny.
You spin better than anybody I know.
It's costly. Time-consuming.
Elections are costly.
I'll contribute $20.
I predict that the governor will step aside to
save money,
to save his great family name, and to prepare for his defense.
His lawyers actually left a little bit of wiggle room for him to resign. Meanwhile, you have this whole issue of what kind of contacts the Obama team had with Blagojevich. I've been briefed on the review that Obama has done, and the sources I talked to say that what it will show is that there were actually far less contacts than we had heard, that Rahm Emanuel only had one phone call with Governor Blagojevich, it wasn't even really about the Senate seat. 4 phone calls with the chief of staff where Emanuel was pushing the idea of Valerie Jarrett, who's the aide to Obama as the senator, but according to these sources, absolutely no deals, and it was clear that they did nothing.
But was one suggested by...
The only thing I learned on that is that at some point, John Harris, the chief of staff, said who's resigned now, said to Emanuel, but if we pick her, all we get back is appreciation, right?
Right.
And Rahm says, right.
So it
Rahm off the
basically,
hook if that's
right. That's you're basically not guilty. But it would be political malpractice if somebody from the Obama camp had not talked to the governor about a Senate seat that was open. And so I think that you have to expect those conversations. The question is what happened in them. And the fact that the governor was so irritated with the Obama camp, it's a nice way of putting it, shows you that there was nothing they were offering.
So, Donna, if the governor does resign,